Hello and welcome to Beginning JavaScript and jQuery, Section 5, Manipulating the DOM with jQuery. In this section, we will be looking at access to DOM with jQuery, how you update elements and content, and then how you would insert new elements and content with jQuery. For the first video in this section, we are going to look at how you access the elements of the DOM. In this video itself, we'll be looking at how you get an element with jQuery, how you get the contents of an element, and then we'll look at some additional options that you can add to enhance or filter the selection that you make. So, previously with JavaScript, we had a couple functions that we would use that, we had to specify we had a certain function that we had to use depending on what we were going to, what we would want to select on, be it the ID, the class, etc. Well, jQuery completely simplifies that for us and makes it so much easier and so much quicker to get what we need on the page. First off, it uses a CSS style selector, which we've seen in with JavaScript. And the syntax is right here. This is simply it's a $. Like I said, everything in jQuery starts with a $. And then the option within double quotes and the parentheses. Now that option can be an element. For example, here, if we want to get the list item of elements, we would simply wrap around li. The ID is we put the ID in, or we can do the class. Another difference between the jQuery selector and the ones with JavaScript is that when we do this, for example, this element, the list item, that will actually put all of the list items in an array for us. It's not just the first one it comes to. It's all of them within an array. And then we can, you can go through the array and, traverse the array if you want to get the particular element that you may need. With an ID, you're not going to have that much, an ID should always be unique. And then the class, would return multiple ones as well. So now that we have the element itself, how do we get the contents of it? Well, first you use these, get the element that you want to work with, the ID, class, however you want to use that we just seen. You would use that, and then you would add .html if you want to get the HTML of that selector, or .text to get the text or content of that selector. So let's go ahead and look at this. I have some examples here. Now you may recognize this list. We used it in the JavaScript section when we talked about the select elements there. So, I'm going to show this to the screen, or actually to the console. So what I'm doing is to get the HTML of the UL unordered list here, I'm assigning it to this variable called unordered list. I am then going to echo it to the console, and then come down here, and I'm getting the HTML of the ID of the list. So it will be, echoed to the console as well. And then down here to show how you get the text, I'm simply getting the text of all of the list items that have the odd class up here that we see. So if I save this and then come over to Chrome, again, the list, the page looks the same as it did before. I will now hit the F12 to bring up the console. And I can see here, when I did the element, I got all of the list items. Now, these two match because, in the ID section, I was getting the ID of this list. So it gave me everything that was contained within it. And then you can see the text for all of the odd list items is 1, 3, 5, all of them together because I didn't, I did not specify to a certain element of the array. As far as jQuery is concerned, I want it to see all of them on the screen. So it gave me all of them. Since jQuery gives us all of the elements or all of the classes, all the elements that we specify, we have some options that we can use to kind of filter that out a little bit. The first one is contains, and this is the syntax for it. You would say, dot HTML or whatever, and then you would add this onto it, add this colon and whatever the option is. And what that, contains, what that does is that will actually, say give me all of the links on the page that contain the word Google in it, and it will give you all of the links that had Google within, that anchor tag. First, it's very straightforward. It gives you the first element that it encounters on the search. Last will give you the last element that it came across. Even will return all the elements that have the even index number within the search. That's if it's a 2, 4, 6 in the array, that's the ones that it'll give you back. And on the opposite side of that, you have odd, which will return the odd index numbers. And then you can also, look for a particular attribute or, certain elements or classes or even IDs that have a certain attribute attached to them. Now, these are not by any means the, all of the options that you have. It's so many that, I don't really have time for. I just, gave you the ones that you would probably encounter the most in your own work. So that wraps up this video.